By the resolution of 7th December 1987, the United Nations General Assembly decision to observe June 26 as the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking is an expression of its determination to strengthen action and cooperation to achieve the goal of an international society free of drug abuse. This is supported each year by individuals, communities, and various organizations all over the world to raise awareness of the major problem that illicit drugs represent to society. One of the beneficiaries of CADAM shares a life experience on condition of anonymity.
I got into drugs when I was much younger, and it was due to peer pressure. I started with cigarettes, marijuana, and I graduated to cocaine and heroin. And it wrecked my life because doing drug, to keep the habits, you need to do crime. I went into crime. I stole, I robbed, I did so many things that even led me to prison. I lost everything, sold all the things I had just to keep the habits. My parents disowned me. I was living in the joints, hardly to take my baths. My hair was unkempt. We stayed for 1 week, 2 weeks without even taking my bath. So it has been a very bad experience. For me, what led me to drug was peer pressure. The friends I was hanging out with, they introduced me into hard drug. So I think it's peer pressure that led me into drug. And as I speak with you now, most of them are late now, while some are still doing drugs. I was in a joint one day smoking, and someone that, a friend that we smoked together came in, and after taking the drug, she died. So it dawned on me that if I don't step out of this thing, I'll be the next person. So I started looking for solution till I met CADAM ministry. And it was through CADAM I got safe from the addiction.
He joined the camp in 2016 and can boast of totally being clean.
Wow. I speak to you, I am the most happiest person in the whole wide world. Why? Because when I was doing drugs, I had no peace, but now there's peace. The things I used to do then, I don't do them again. Now I learn new things. And the Lord has added so many things to me. As it is now, I'm preparing to settle down. I'll be able to take care of myself. I'll be able to reach out to my family. I'm now a voice in my family, which then I was doing drug. They didn't even want to see me. So that's just my experience. My future plan is, one, to reach out to the young ones, to the youths, because I was much younger when I started doing drug. So it's just to reach out to the young one and let them know that they should not start, because it is dangerous when you start. It will be hard to step out of it. When I started, I thought I'm going to step out, but it took me a whole 12 years of staying on the streets. So my plan is still to reach out to the young ones and create an awareness on the danger of hard drugs.
The use of cannabis, tramadol, retinol, and cough syrups for non-medical purposes top the list of drugs and substances mostly abused in Nigeria.
You know, there's something that pains me. People think people wake up and say, I want to be an addict, or I want to take drugs. It's not possible. Some of them have the notion of the destructive nature of it. Sometimes it's by experimentation. Sometimes it's unwillingly. They don't know. Today, I tell you that people they use marijuana to garnish indomie. They use it to cook jollof rice, to cook fried rice, to cook beans. So if a friend is hungry and he sees his friend eating, he says, oh boy, make I eat. And he gets into it. And then he finds that there's a different, oh boy. And he begins to look for his friend to eat his beans. People go to parties today and surreptitiously their drinks are spiked. Most of these drinks that many of our children drink in their own party, they are spiked. They put codeine, they put tramadol, and if a novice comes to that party and he takes it accidentally, and he goes back to school and is tested positive, people say he's not an addict, he's an accidental user. Or sometimes the first time he's an occasional user, he's a social user. We need to understand it. That, look, honestly, it breaks my heart when we see the way we deal with this thing. Oh, it's not my child, this is useless. But they're not useless. Many of these addicts are top of their class. There's a girl with us right now. The university confessed to me that she's a first-class material, but she tested positive. So, hey, tell me, are you going to throw her away? They sent her to us for rehab. After 3 months, if he's certified, they take her back. Will she let her lose the second chance because she made a mistake? Who is the person that has never made a wrong turn in his or her life? So we need to come to understand it.
The initial decision to take drugs is typically voluntary, but with continued use, a person's ability to exert self-control can become seriously impaired.
The drug user is a victim, either indirectly or directly or knowingly or unknowingly. And then you then punish him by sending him to jail. You see, the thing is, we have made it so glamorous, the use of substances, that is getting younger people to get into it. And one of the things that breaks my heart is the denied nature of parents, or carelessness of parents, or belonging of parents. How do I mean? Why would a parent sit down and allow a 14, 15-year-old to go into university when he's not a gifted child? Do you know today in primary schools, people don't go to primary 5, primary 6 anymore? Whereas that was what the government said, 6, 6, 8, or whatever it was. But people say government should make laws. Government make laws, but we break them recklessly. A parent will go and swear to affidavit as to the age of the child. If the government says today that 18 should be the entry point for university, you will find 15 going with affidavit. Is that government's fault? That's why you see this dealing with the drug issue is holistic. Every one of us must be involved one way or the other. How many parents know their children? Yes, you can know this is your child, but how much time do they spend with their children? We must begin to teach our children how to stand, how to dictate to themselves the passion of their lives.
The issue of stigmatization is still very rife in Nigeria, and not just on drug abuse, on so many issues. And this deals with the mentality of everyone, the ego of everyone. So at this stage, how can stigmatization be taken care of in order to ensure that those who are still being rehabilitated
can be proud to
have
come.
a sense of belonging again?
Apart from the government saying, no, we don't like stigmatization, they must show that they don't like it. If they look for people who have graduated and we can say has been off drug, I mean, like people who train our people here, they've been off drug for 10, 15, 20 years. Why can't they be used as ambassadors? Why can't they be put in positions that people can see and say, and that helps the psyche? We can talk about don't stigmatize, but these are not just talk. It's about actionable things. Do we get them back into employment? Has any government come to us to say, could you give us 5 people you are so sure of that we can employ as either this, as either that? If they don't do that, then there's a problem. If a university vice chancellor says, because somebody tested positive is an addict, then he doesn't have understanding. The fact that a man tested positive does not mean that he's an addict. He's a user. Until you can see a chronicity to that and the helplessness of not being able to do without drugs, that is an addict. He's not somebody who takes and still goes to class and can drive a car. That's not an addict. You understand? So it's a process. It's not just one thing. The thing is, we all must work at it.
Studies show that the brain imaging of people with addiction show physical changes in areas of the brain that are critical to judgment, decision-making, learning and memory, and behavior control. These changes explain the compulsive nature of addiction.
And you see, when they see someone who cares, who speaks their language, who makes them understand they are not terrible, we are not judgmental. Again, you see, laws are amenable to changes depending on the dynamics of the society. The laws that were okay 30 years ago are no more okay. When Buhari came first time, they killed drug peddlers, those who were selling. But you can't do that today, because that would be rather out of this world. Some people do it, but that's not the way to help. The way to help is to understand. I'm not saying be permissive, but a first-time offender or people, if somebody does it regularly and then you know this was their line of business, then you kill the line of business. One of the things that can help us is that everything we need to do demand reduction would be fantastic.
To address the situation, the federal government of Nigeria prohibits across-the-counter sale of some drugs, including tramadol, and as well as set up the Presidential Task Force on Drug Abuse in 2018, with the intent to go after illicit drug traffickers.